Welcome to the program, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us. This is the Paul Harrell program. Pretty interesting night last night, predictable night, depending on which polls you follow. Or I guess really all the polls. A loyalty test is how I'm dubbing this. I think many people are. President Trump is clearly in control of the Republican Party. There's no question about that. If you want to get anything done, it's pretty obvious that you're going to have to go through him. So we're going to talk about the fallout between the Thomas Massie, Ed Gallerin, Thomas Massie losing, decisively yesterday in that primary. Also going to talk about what it means about other endorsements. As I mentioned earlier, you've got, I know of people in Texas that were maybe more in the Massie camp, but they're ecstatic that Donald Trump has endorsed Ken Paxton instead of John Cornyn. So it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure style of politics today. We're going to talk about that as well as many, many other things. I've got Eric Haynes with me in seat number 3. Rob Spencer will be joining us here momentarily. The Paul Harrell program starts right now.
The Paul Harrell program.
All right, folks, welcome to the show. I am just a little bit discombobulated because right before we came on the air, my system, because I was messing with it wrong, I screwed up a whole system, so I had to restart my program, bring it back up, discard changes, and then I had to put all the stream keys back in. So you have to forgive me. Those of you watching on LFA TV, really everywhere else, that's why we were a little bit tardy starting the stream, so I apologize for that. Hopefully it won't happen again. I don't need to be tweaking my settings for things that are not necessary right before we go on the air. So anyway, broadcasting live from the state of Arkansas, and as always, I've got in seat number 3, you got Eric Haynes with us. Eric, good to have you back, sir.
So great to be part of the conversation, Paul.
So we've got Rob Spencer is going to be in momentarily. He is rushing to get here. He's going to be ducking in here any moment to cover the news and events of the day. So not a surprising result, really, at least if you were following the polls, with Thomas Massie getting beaten by Ed Gallerin. Everybody's going to continue to dissect the financials of all of this, how much money came from within the Massie's district that went to Gallerin versus outside. I've seen people dissect those numbers, but the bottom line is this: President Trump. This was personal for President Trump. This was personal. He does not like Thomas Massie, wanted him to support the agenda, and he wanted to make Thomas Massie pay for that. And that's exactly what happened. Thomas Massie will no longer be the congressman come January from from Kentucky's 4th district. So this is where we're at. And Eric, what are your thoughts on this?
I liked what you said about this being predictable because having Trump's support is just it's part of it. It's baked into the cake at this point. And Thomas Massie, however noble he wanted to sound in his responses and in his rationale for voting the way that he did, it was not received well by the party. And at the end of the day, when push came to shove and they needed him for votes and for things to help the Trump mandate and the MAGA agenda, Thomas Massie was on the outside of that, claiming to be just putting in these votes because I'm not representing Trump, I'm representing the people of my district. But it's like, dude, the people of your district voted 76% to elect President Trump over Kamala Harris. Like, don't think that because you've been in office for 14 years or so, that means that Trump's agenda is less important than what you think about being a fiscal hawk. I have a lot of things to say about it. I'm seeing all this stuff about this being basically just a big win for Israel, and I reject that wholeheartedly. We can talk about that more.
You don't think so? I mean, they specifically, the Israel army specifically went after him because he voted against.
What I mean about this being it's only a victory for Israel.
Okay.
Yeah. Israel's influence on this election, this does not need to be just that's the only people that win in this outcome is Israel.
Yeah. But they certainly...
No, Mike Johnson wins. America wins in a lot of cases for things that he voted against that now we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about him being such an outsider.
Well, we've got a few takes here on that. We're going to get to that as well because there was a we'll get to that tweet. There was an Israeli publication, Haaretz, I think. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. That was like, hey, this is a must win, or this is an important win. I mean, so even Israeli media was focused on this being kind of a bellwether over that issue of Israel support. And we're going to talk about that and what the younger generation thinks of that. Brandon Straka has an interesting take on that, and we'll see where it'll be interesting to see where the party is 10 years from now versus where it is now. Just from what you're seeing. And a lot of people are going to say, look, X isn't real life, the internet's, and that is, I mean, in a lot of cases, it is a bubble, but it is also, it tends to predict like what is considered fringe online. I think this is true for so many issues. What's considered fringe online now won't be 10 years from now, but we'll see. Here is the New York Post's coverage of what happened. Not just in Kentucky, but all across the primaries across the country last night. Headline, Victor Nava, 9 key takeaways from election night in Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Alabama, and Georgia. Real quick, just to bring you up to speed. Obviously, Trump takes out Massie in Kentucky. We're going to cover that here a little bit more here in a minute. Massie did hint that maybe he's not done yet. The audience wants him to run for president in 2028. I guess he could try if he wants to do that. We'll see. Not really sure if he would be the guy, but
good luck.
You were asking earlier about what about Thomas Massie represented, this I don't know what you said, independent streak with the young people or whatever. And I think because we're going to see here in a minute, the young people and really everybody, no one really cares about spending and the debt anymore. Honestly, it's really interesting. There's more boomers now, I think, in the Republican Party that actually care about that than there are young people. But I just think Massie was used as a bellwether. He was used as a symbol to say, okay, we're going to have this disagreement. We're going to have this fight that we're having, and we're going to use Massie versus Gallerin as a microcosm of that. Anyway, squad-backed candidate wins in Pennsylvania. Self-styled Democratic Socialist State Representative Chris Rabb won Pennsylvania's 3rd District Democratic primary after receiving endorsements from the far-left squad lawmakers. He writes, Rabb, who is virtually assured to win the general election, is in a solidly blue district, was backed by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, who, by the way, who knows, maybe Ilhan Omar's getting arrested soon. Don't hold your breath.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
You talk about something that would invigorate the base.
Yeah.
That would be one of them. Then Georgia Republicans. So we talked about this towards the end of the show. Georgia State Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and former Lieutenant Governor George Duncan, who were among the few Republicans to speak out against Trump's attempt to overturn his 2020 election loss in the Peach State, New York Post writes, received middling support from voters in their gubernatorial bids. Raffensperger obviously was in the news yesterday and the day before because it was revealed that the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, has a bunker, an election bunker, and election officials aren't allowed in. A judge said, no, you have to let him in. And then I heard that even another judge at the last minute said, no, you can't. So anyway, he doesn't do well. He doesn't win. And again, look at this guy. The gall of this guy, who is not known among Republicans for being a trustworthy person, being a guy that is for election integrity, is gonna fight people trying to watch the counting process that the Secretary of State does. I mean, the arrogance here is palpable. Republicans will have to wait for their golden candidate to take down Senator John Ossoff. Representative Mike Collins, Republican Georgia, and former college football coach Derek Dooley will head to a runoff election in the GO Senate primary in Georgia after neither candidate received 50% of the vote. Collins, at about 41%, was the top vote getter, while Dooley, who was endorsed by Governor Brian Kemp, received 30% of support. Interesting. Trump has not endorsed a candidate in that contest. Alabama governor's race is going to be a rematch of the 2020 Senate election in that state. You've got former Alabama Senator Doug Jones getting the Democrat nomination, and now Tommy Tuberville, who's retiring from the Senate, is running for governor of Alabama, and he's going to be on the ballot. Tuberville's already beaten Jones once in the 2020 Alabama Senate race, so that's going to be pretty interesting. I actually think Tommy Tuberville is going to be a more effective governor than Kay Ivey for the state of Alabama, if for no other reason that Tommy Tuberville is one of the only senators that I know of who has said that the election fraud in this country is so great that there are people in both parties in D.C. I believe he said both parties, but he definitely said, I definitely know he was talking about the Democrats, who are in office right now and would not be in office had we exposed this. And I think it was even Tuberville that was even, I could be wrong about this, but I mean, I can't remember if Tuberville was also echoing some of Emerald Robinson's reporting over the Venezuelan election fraud and where a lot of the software that, infects our voting machines comes out of Venezuela. A lot of her reporting on that. I think Tuberville was echoing a lot of that as well. I don't have that clip in front of me, but
I think I remember that you sharing that clip at one point as well.
Yeah, I think so. Then we've got the Alabama Senate primaries. We've got Representative Barry Moore, Republican Alabama, clinched a spot in the Republican runoff election in the Alabama Senate, being vacated by Tuberville. Moore, who was endorsed by Trump, received over 40% of the vote. The race for the second spot in the June 16th GOP runoff is still too close to call. Then you've got the race to replace Mitch McConnell. I want you to talk about this because I haven't followed this at all, but I know you have, Eric. Representative Andy Barr, former Democratic State Rep Charles Booker won their respective primaries in the race to replace retiring Senator Mitch McConnell. Barr has already received Trump's endorsement. Booker previously ran for Senate in 2022 but lost to incumbent Senator Rand Paul. The Republican nominee will be heavily favored in November. So what do you know about that race? Were you following it at all?
No, but I did like David Cameron,
Okay.
the one that Andy Barr beat to be the nominee. But Andy Barr had Trump's recommendation, and I saw his acceptance speech or his post speech, and it was very lively.
Okay.
So
then you've got Pennsylvania.
Barr gets it, is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think David Cameron got it as well, but Barr definitely gets it.
Midterm matchups in several Pennsylvania swing districts were finalized. Pennsylvania's first congressional district, incumbent Representative Brian Fitzpatrick, Republican, will take on Democrat Bob Harvey. The district went for former Vice President Kamala Harris in 2024, but is rated likely GOP by nonpartisan Cook Political Report. The Keystone State's 7th congressional district will be incumbent Representative Ryan McKenzie and face retired firefighter and union boss Bob Brooks, who was endorsed by socialist Bernie Sanders. The district narrowly went for Trump in 2024 and is rated a toss-up by the Cook Political Report. In Pennsylvania's 10th congressional district, another toss-up won by Trump in 2024. Former news anchor Janelle Stelson will take on incumbent Representative Scott Perry, Republican, Pennsylvania. So that's what happened last night. It's a pretty good recap article if you want to know just all of the primaries that were taking place. But
yeah,
go ahead.
Bottom line is, to your point, Trump's endorsements won 100%
Yes.
of last night. I mean, he's basically 37-0 was his scorecard last night. If you had Trump's endorsement last night, you won.
So if you are John Cornyn in Texas,
So, yeah, that was our conversation
He
last night, too. It's like John Cornyn better be shaking in his boots.
after the news came out yesterday that Paxton got the endorsement, the headlines I saw was John Cornyn cancels election events and heads back to D.C.
Yeah,
I guess
because it's over.
if you love it, if you love it that much, you better get you better enjoy it. I mean, you do have a while. You've got until January. You're going to lose, and you're going to be the senator. You're going to be able to do what Bill Cassidy is doing.
Yeah, right.
Cornyn is
spite votes.
Yeah. And you know what? I think some of these other senators as well that already don't like President Trump's agenda, but now that Trump has done what he's done with Ken Paxton, I think the Senate is going to become more hostile towards President Trump. And I think my scenario for an executive order is still plausible where he comes out and gives an executive order, mandating the end of mail-in ballots and that sort of thing, and it'll go before the court.
What a swamp move by Cassidy, too. Switching his vote on a war powers resolution and going with the Democrats as this vote, just literally out of spite.
Right.
It is. There's no other explanation for that vote, Dr. Cassidy.
If he'd have won his primary, he wouldn't have made that vote.
No.
There's no way.
Exactly.
Not a chance.
Exactly.
Like now, all of a sudden, Bill Cassidy is anti-war with Iran.
It just makes everyone look
break.
so foolish.
I know.
And petty. It's the pettiness of it.
I mean, you really never get out of high school. If you really think about the human condition and you think about, how petty we can be, high school never really ends. It's just like you could even argue high school territorialism and pettiness is actually more pure and than what we make it, because we get out of high school now we're adults, so now we just lie to ourselves that we're not those immature people we used to be. We're now adults, and so it's just a mask. You're doing the same type of thing.
Well, look at the names of some of the people they're in the room with too. I mean, we were just talking about them a while ago. Ocasio-Cortez, Omar, Tlaib, Raskin, people like that. They used to be in the room with Swalwell. Like all those people.
Many of those
high school is probably a compliment.
Many of those Democrats, if they were in power, would be voting for more conflict with Iran. Also, like they would be, if there was a Democrat president, they would be back in the Democrat president's conflict in Iran.
Yeah,
many of them would. Like that's.
Hillary Clinton would have been bombing the heck out of them.
Exactly. That's the both parties' argument here about
she would have probably
foreign policy.
nuked them already.
But here's the takeaway. Let's focus on Massie for a second. So Jack Posobiec, the last few weeks have shown that President Trump is solidly the sole leader of the Republican Party. Multiple incumbents that have gone up against him have now found themselves losing primaries by GOP voters. That is the takeaway. Again, if you want to get anything done, that's the mechanism to do it, and that is why the deep state sympathizers and Uniparty. I mean, that's why they try their best to surround and influence President Trump as much as they can. So Cernovich said this. So again, another Posobiec tweet. Thomas Massie projected to lose Kentucky GOP primary. Cernovich's post last night. And this caught my eye because this is a conversation that we had, which is nobody cares about the federal deficit. That was Massey's signature issue. Nobody cares. And it's kind of ironic. And this just dawned on me. The boomers voted for Ed Gallerin en masse, but it's the young people that I think care less about the debt than boomers. Now, this is just speculation, but I think if you polled it, that's what the case would be. If you took personalities, parties, and everything out of it. I think if you polled it, that's what would come out. And I don't mean to be callous, and I want to say this again. Like, I get it. If the me from 2009 was hearing the me in 2026 say that the national debt doesn't matter the way we think it does, I mean, I would think that I was totally a sellout or a total moron, or I would probably call myself, I don't know what I would call I'd probably be like, oh, so you love Occupy Wall Street? I'm just trying to think what was going on back in those days. Remember Occupy Wall Street, by the way?
Dude.
That was crazy. Anyway, the point is, we were talking about this off air, $1 trillion. If you conceptualize how much $1 trillion is, so imagine a field full of piles of money, and each pile of money is 27. Hang on. Each pile of money represents $27 million for 100 years. Okay, one pile is 1 trillion. So each pile represents 27 million a day for 100 years. That is how much that pile is.
Yeah.
And so we owed 12 trillion in 2009, and now we owe basically 40. So you tell me that we understand this, that we have, first of all, that we have a real, at this point, even a legitimate way of paying it back. I don't really think we do, and I know there's people a lot smarter than me that could figure out some way to do it. But the point is that ship has sailed a long time ago. And we have voted to, as conservatives or people on the right, we've voted for people that are going to get spending under control and get the deficit under control. We've voted for that for a long time, but nothing ever happens. And the reason is because whatever system we think exists is not the full system. It may not even be even resemble the system we think exists. But D.C. is run on blackmail, and I think the national debt is just a giant blackmail, zeppelin, hanging over our head, and it can come crashing down like the Hindenburg, whenever it's deemed necessary. Right? That's kind of what I think it is at this point. So especially when we spend billions of dollars on USAID and all of this other waste and fraud, and nobody's held accountable for it, by the way. To then say, hey, Trump's agenda, which is whether you love it or hate it, or whether you thought the big, beautiful bill was fantastic, or you thought, well, maybe not, or whatever, the bottom line is to not vote for Trump's agenda on the big, beautiful bill because of the debt or the deficit is just not going to resonate with most people now. They don't care, and I can understand why.
Yeah.
Now, many of them that don't care probably don't articulate it the way I do. I've come to this conclusion because I just think we live in a fake system. We really do. It is so fake and artificial. And I agree with Bukele from El Salvador, who said, we don't pay taxes to fund the government. We pay taxes to, support the idea, the perception that we fund the government, which really makes you think, why haven't they eliminated the IRS post haste?
Yeah.
Because it's ridiculous. So to me, Cernovich here just is kind of echoing. And most people don't care. Nobody cares. And so then you look, well, what was the big issue with the young people? Well, it wasn't the debt or the deficit. It would have been the other things. It would have been the Epstein files. It would have been the Israel lobby or resisting that. That's what the race was about. Not about the debt. So
I'm on. I just popped on usdebtclock.org. By the way.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull that up.
I remember when this number was in the single digits as far as numbers of trillions that we were in debt. And the way this thing breaks down is just wild now because we're pushing $40 trillion in debt. That means for every citizen in this country is in debt $114,000. Every tax-paying citizen is in debt $357,000. If every one of us that pay taxes wrote a check today for $357,000, $357.70, we would pay off the debt. So none of those numbers are objective anymore. None of them are. They're not real numbers. No one can. It's past the point of making any sense or being real. I mean, it's already past that point. So.
That's monopoly money. Look at that.
It is.
$39 trillion.
Yeah, it goes so fast. The numbers of hundreds of thousands goes so fast that nobody can even. It's not relative. There's no way that people can wrap their heads around those numbers. And this isn't meant to be doom and gloom because that's the whole point. It's not doom and gloom anymore, Paul. It's not real. I was raised, and we were talking about this before, I was raised when this first whole debt clock thing really started. And I was older, but I was told, here's what's happening. We're in debt as a country, and China owns all that debt. So someday, China could get really mad at us. And when they get mad enough, they're going to say, hey, U.S., it's time to pay up. And we're going to default on that loan, and then our country is going to be bankrupt somehow, like it's some weird Monopoly game, like it's Monopoly money, like in the game of Monopoly. Somebody's going to call our debt, that being China, because they own it all, and we're not going to be able to pay it, and so then we're just all going to, our system's going to crash, and we're all going to die. And that's just not really objective to think about it that way anymore, right?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I was exactly.
I mean, it's not scary. That was scary.
Yeah, it was.
That was like, hey,
it was part of the 2009, 2010 Tea Party movement. Oh yeah, China, they're gonna call our debt, or And it's like, man, we're not. It is not that simple. The system is so complicated. Our financial system is so corrupt and so complicated, and there is a small number of people that actually understand it. And the more complicated something is, and the smaller the group of people that understand it, the more opportunity there is for corruption. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're at. And all those people can live high on the horse. All those people can be bought. All those people can benefit from it. What was it? What ancient was it? Greece or Rome or what ancient? I heard this somewhere on a podcast, but I cannot remember where it was. Somebody was saying that back in the day, they had giant juries. They had like a jury of like I don't know, like 1,000. You know, if you got tried by like 500 people or something. And the idea is like, yeah, some of these people can be bribed, but you know, it's going to take somebody with deep pockets to bribe all 500 jurors.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes into my tangent about apportionment. You know, there was a date and time where the United States said, that's it, only 435 congressmen. That's it. For 350 million people now, we have 435 congressmen, 100 senators, 535 people. That's it. That's all the representation you can have. Where the Constitution says that you can give somebody a new congressional representative when you get a population of 30,000. Can you imagine if our congressmen in D.C., if everybody, now it would be huge, it would be like the Galactic Senate in Star Wars.
Yeah.
But it's a lot harder to bribe that many. It's a lot easier to bribe 435 House members than it is to bribe, 2,000 or whatever the number could be.
Well, when you look at this debt number too, I mean, it's why things like the fraud that's being exposed kind of becomes such a big deal and such a lightning in the bottle, frustration for people, is because they're like, we realize now after all this stuff that's going on in California and Minnesota and Ohio and so many other states of people defrauding the system that this number is going so fast, partly because of them. Mm-hmm. And that potentially $1 trillion a year, it's probably worse than that. I mean, Rob has said $1 trillion a year. I think he's absolutely right. And it's probably even worse than that because it's like every week we find another state where there's like hundreds of billions of dollars worth of fraud that has been going on for years. It's like, man,
yep.
Wouldn't it be so nice if we could have gotten all that back, or if we can stop the bleeding of all that? And that, because that's not something that we necessarily have to really get active to do. We just have to turn off the spigot of all of these fraudsters. Put some of them in jail, as many as possible.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, but at least stop writing stinking checks.
Back to the point. You see that clock going up as fast as it is. I mean, what is that? $100,000 a second or something? And they're like, okay, voting against the big beautiful bill when we have an open border and all this other, is not going to stop that.
No, that's what.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said yesterday, Thomas Massie, if you do not get to take a victory lap because of the fiscal hawk that you are with your voting record.
If you want to stop that, there's ways to do it.
Yes.
Like ending the Federal Reserve,
yes.
Auditing the gold at Fort Knox, going back to the gold standard.
Not by voting against ICE or by voting against our justice system and voting against the things that help us find the fraudsters and deport all the people that don't need to be here, that are sucking out the life out of our economy. So you don't get to take you don't get to raise your hand up with that trophy.
Yeah,
Massie.
I mean, my take on this is generally, and I put this in a text to you guys earlier. So the reason this was personal with Massie did not vote for the one big beautiful bill. Yeah, okay, that was like the kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. That turned out, even though in my opinion we need more mass deportations, we need a lot more than what we're getting. I concede that, but it turned out to be extremely important for the border and ICE. Okay, now he said he did it on principle, right? But then you go look back. I think this was the kicker. Massie did vote for Joe Biden's budget. He did. And so it's like, okay, where was that principle then? It's a legitimate argument, all right? At the same time, and I'm going to say this, and this may make some people mad, but I don't care. At the same time, I think Massie's voice was important as a hammer against group think. I do. I think it was. Certainly was important with the Epstein files. I can sit here and say I am grateful for Thomas Massie and his stance on the Epstein files. I don't necessarily. We could talk about, well, what was his real motivations? I don't really care. As a journalist, I have more information about how sick and twisted our elites are than I otherwise would have, because in part for Thomas Massie pushing the issue and forcing the envelope. That is a good thing. It's the same thing I felt about Julian Assange, who I think back when the WikiLeaks thing came out. Same way I feel about Edward Snowden, but with Julian Assange, it was like, people were all like, can you believe, that what they did? He was holed up in that Ecuadorian embassy or that London embassy for forever because they were going to go after him because he broke the law allegedly, or they framed him for, sexual misconduct, which they did. But as a journalist, I was like, wow, I am certainly glad we have way more truth about the secrets of these people that are never held accountable for anything. I am glad that truth is out because of Thomas Massie. And that brings you to the young people. And again, the perception with the young people is going to be the reason he was targeted by Trump isn't because of this, isn't because he voted against the big, beautiful bill while he voted for Joe Biden's budget. It's going to be, the perception is, you went after him because he stood on Epstein files, and he made, now Trump did sign that piece of legislation that came from Massie. And then the other thing would be him voting against funding for Israel and being against the wars, and going on Tucker Carlson and saying every congressman has an AIPAC person.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that as well. It's not necessarily black and white. There's a lot of moving pieces here. Here is Mario Nawfal on X. Ed Gallerin beat Thomas Massie in Kentucky's 4th Congressional District primary without winning a single age group under 65. Seniors carried him across the finish line. And again, that's ironic because I think if you polled it, and I think if you actually polled the debt question and you took Massie and Trump and everything out of it, I think more boomers would be like, yes, the debt's a serious problem. I think that's really funny, actually. Seniors carried him across the finish line. Every other demographic voted for Massie. That's how powerful the 65 voting bloc has become in low turnout primaries. You don't need to win the room. You just need to own the one corner that actually shows up. So there you see that. There, Republican primary for Kentucky's district, how it all played out. Massie's in the red. Look at that 65 and up. I mean, look at that. And that's the big chunk of the vote there. So here's some cynical takes. I don't know who this is. Somebody named Brandon Harnish says, if Massie loses tonight, does that mean we can finish the wall, pass the SAVE Act, reignite mass deportations, drain the swamp, prosecute Fauci, and cut spending? Honestly, if you could push Massie would have resigned. Maybe Massie would have dropped out of the race if that was the case. Like, hey, if we get those things all at once. So then we have somebody named Jesse Hughes, who said, if Massie loses tonight, I'm immediately turning my attention to November. If Massie wins tonight, I'm immediately turning my attention to November. We all have our differences, but the real fight is ahead. I like this take. Cernovich's take here is also, it's a shame that people blew up friendships over this election. I can't imagine ever doing so. We are all going to be around for a long time, or at least I hope so. Nuking each other is so counterproductive. So we had the fight. There's going to be more fights. There's going to be more disagreements within the Republican Party in the future. It's just the nature of the beast. That's what's going to happen. Again, the Republican Party is the coalition party. If you're going to have a disagreement, this is the only place you can actually do it. But if you're going to have a disagreement and you're going to want to win, you better have President Trump on your side. Those are the variables at this point. That's where we're at.
Totally agree.
So then there's the AIPAC. AIPAC putting out this tweet. Congratulations to U.S. Navy SEAL Ed Galvin. for defeating anti-Israel incumbent Thomas Massie. Pro-Israel Americans are proud to back candidates who support a strong alliance and help defeat those who work to undermine it. Being pro-Israel is good policy, they say, and good politics. So AIPAC, the comment section in this tweet has been wild.
Yeah, I bet.
R.N. McIntyre, though, highlighting, this was yesterday. So the Israeli news publication Haaretz posted an article yesterday, headline, "The most consequential Republican primary for Israel is happening in Kentucky." And so, again, this, I'll just...
Yeah, Gallerine won, 19 out of 21 counties?
Yes, he did.
Handily.
Handily, and Massie won his home county, right?
Yeah, the one where he has the 1,500 acre ranch.
Yeah. He lives in the one he won. But R.N. McIntyre writes, if a Chinese paper wrote a story about how a primary race in Kentucky was the most consequential race for China after pro-China donors poured in, and they didn't pour in 35 million, but they did pour in a lot. I think it was like 10 million. But it was a very expensive. I mean, it was like an all-time record for the race. What would that mean? So R.N. McIntyre here is asking the question, and the difference between these two scenarios is that Israeli foreign policy is baked into U.S. foreign policy for both parties. Like, that is pretty much clear to me at this point. Now, is that going to continue? According to those young people polls, no. It's certainly just not. But I guess the reason I pulled this tweet again is because this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is just the way the world is right now. And there are people debating it. There are people that have a problem with it. There are people that I think go too far. But I don't think there's anything wrong with questioning who funds campaigns and people taking issue with it. We've been doing that for a long time, whether it's Big Pharma funds this person's campaign or whatever. It's just the way things are. Look who it is. Rob. How you doing, Rob?
Did you just put the camera on me?
Yeah, brother. Look who it is.
You know what? At least there's somebody sitting in this chair.
I'm
because
so sorry.
Yesterday, I saw lots of camera angles of a person not sitting in this chair.
Dude, it was like muscle memory habit.
Here's what I think
tried
it
to
was.
give him the signal too that was going on.
I think you were slamming me for not being here.
Actually,
he's like, listen, guy, you had to get that tattoo.
He brought up Clint Eastwood's empty chair a couple of times.
Yeah. So I listened to a lot of the show yesterday and as much as I could today, but what are y'all talking about? Thomas Massie and his loss?
Once again, there was a lot of other shows that talked about this race. We've talked about it. We talked about it Monday. We talked about it Tuesday and today. We really haven't talked about it very much at all. And the reason I really wasn't interested in talking about it is because I've seen this play out before at a micro level here in Arkansas when Asa Hutchinson was governor. That this is just what happens.
You keep saying that with Asa, like you wanted him to be president. Didn't
right.
You? Just say it,
right.
Paul.
Yeah. But I've seen this play out, and it's just it is what it is. People who have people who are in that executive power, they want to go after those who are giving them a hard time in the legislature or in Congress. It is personal, and in this case, it clearly was with Massie, and it. I look at it as like I pretty much knew this was going to happen. Like I thought maybe there was a chance that Massie would have won, but I pretty much knew this was going to happen. And it was kind of like one of those things where I've just seen this too many times, and I am ready to move on to things that are like I do want to continue bringing up. Like, yes, we have a lot of work to do. Yes, there are no deep state arrests. We need more mass deportations. Like, we've got a lot of stuff to get to. And we spent so much money and energy on this in a Republican squabble, and it just doesn't interest me because I've seen it too many times at the local level. So anyway,
Yeah. Well,
go ahead. Sorry.
So I want to say this. This is I got my shirt. So
Oh,
Grunt
nice.
Style. I keep buying all these shirts from Grunt Style, and I'm hoping that they will sponsor the show because if
We gotta reach out to them.
yeah,
We gotta reach out.
So my wife literally told me today. She was like, "You have got to stop," because she saw the shirt and she was just like, I hadn't seen that one, like she knew
when you walked in. I was like, oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
she knew. And
The Culpepper Minute Men.
so the Culpepper minute. So if you've ever heard of the "Don't Tread on Me," so this was Revolutionary War, and they were from Virginia, and so if you've ever heard of the "Don't Tread on Me" and the snake thing or whatever,
Yeah.
that was the Culpepper Minutemen.
Wow, from Virginia.
From Virginia, and
My
so
name is Richard Henry Lee.
there you go.
Virginia is my home. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh man, that was
Thank you.
was pleasant. And so
Y'all have never heard that song, Richard Henry? Anyway, go ahead.
yeah. Anyway, so I saw this one and I love it, and so I bought it. And my wife said, like, she was like, we're a couple of T-shirts away from having an intervention.
Your closet is just nothing but the same.
All
you
it
got,
is,
you've got
dude.
you got a lot of replicas too,
So yeah, so if you've ever watched this show, of course, I wear a Grunt Style shirt literally every day, and that's not because I just wear the same shirt every day. I have, I think, about 20 T-shirts from Grunt Style. So
that's a good one though. That's a sharp one. I like the yellow. It's
yeah,
really good.
so I think it looks good. Obviously, it was not incognito because here's the thing, I'm I'm the wife who's like trying to hide the Amazon packages. That's where I'm at right now because I'm like looking for the mail when it runs because I run home to grab the shirts and try to hide them. And I did. She didn't know that it had been shipped. She didn't realize that, but then she was perceptive enough to realize that she's not seen this shirt before. So anyway, I've got a problem.
We know spouses; they can be very perceptive.
Yeah. Our wives know, literally, our wives know everything that we're thinking and doing and all of that stuff for the most part. And she knows I've got a Grunt Style problem. So anyway,
Well,
maybe they'll sponsor the show, and then we can like
We'll send
it
them-
can be
we're
like
gonna
promo code Paul.
I think promo code Rob.
Yeah.
It's like,
Maybe.
I've never worn one.
Maybe
Not
that's
that
what it is.
Not that I wouldn't wear one. But no, what we should do is I'll clip this segment and I'll send it to him. We'll say, hey,
Send it to them like, hey, sponsor the show. So anyway, I'm fine with Thomas Massie being gone.
yes, I know you are. I know you are. But
I
yeah,
got
no.
some tattoo work last night as well. So I was listening to his defeat. I was listening to Laura Ingraham when it was announced. His defeat came through. So I mean, listen, it is what it is, man. Like you can only go against.
Well, that's what this says. Cernovich, again, he says 2024-2025 is a razor's narrow GOP majority, and Massie needed to be a team player on the one big, beautiful bill. AIPAC will claim the scalp, and the other side will blame Israel for buying an election. Yet almost all of Trump's posts were about ICE funding, one big, beautiful bill, and overall disloyalty to Trump. That's why the headline of today's show is Disloyalty Test. Trump buries Massie with loyalty tests, right? Like not disloyalty test, but a loyalty test, because that's fundamentally what the message is. That's the message to John Cornyn too. I mean, if you go look at what was it? His post, endorsing Ken Paxton. It was, hey, Ken Paxton's amazing, best attorney general ever, supported me and my great, But then he gets to John Cornyn. Says John Cornyn's a nice guy, but he backed me too late. He could have backed me earlier. Yada yada yada. So, what does that say to these senators? What do these say to these? What will the Senate get more cooperative or less? I predict less after the
Well,
after
just
throwing John
because they're-
Cornyn under the bus.
because it's a lot of dudes that are in charge, and what are we, guys? What are we? When we get jaded, when we get a little bit frustrated, what do? We like stand our ground, and we kind of like kick back when maybe we should just take an inward look and say,
Yep.
I get it. This guy's full of bluster. He's full of bravado. He's gonna post about me on Truth Social and all that stuff. But is he right? Is he right? I mean, Trump's gone through there and posted about the SAVE Act. He was talking about that last night, and I think I sent that to you, or at least I sent a screenshot of it or whatever. But he's talking about the SAVE Act, and he's like, if you can't pass that, and you are the Senate majority leader,
80-something% approval.
Yeah.
if you can't pass that, then why are you in charge? And so I think he wants to come out a little harder against John Thune, and I would imagine that he would, but he's also playing a little bit of politics.
Yeah.
So like 2018 Trump would be just obliterating John Thune. This 2026, whatever year we're in right now. So I think he's being a little bit more, like, hey, I don't see John Thune going away, but all of his allies are dropping like flies, and I'm here for it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it, and I'm hoping.
Come on.
I'm hoping that old Cornyn is next there in
I think
Texas.
so. Well, like I said, there is a divide in this. It's kind of a mixed bag, if you will, on some of this stuff, because again, Trump's endorsement is, has the power to destroy an incumbent,
Sure,
and help the challenger. And so we see this with Massie, and now we're seeing this with Cornyn. I hope we don't see it. My mixed bag. I hope we don't see it with Lindsey Graham. I hope the Trump endorsement fails with Lindsey Graham. I hope the Trump endorsement succeeds.
Yeah, I'm rooting against Trump on Lindsey.
Yeah, because it's just like there's literally no rationale for it. I mean,
Is there something
public
behind the scenes that we don't know about Lindsey?
Well, it's interesting. No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, there's probably something, but I mean, it's funny because Noel Fritch was on Timcast. I played this clip. Were you here with that? You were here for that. And Tim Pool was like, yeah, it's really weird. Like, we don't have any evidence that Lindsey Graham is gay, but everybody, if you talk to anybody in D.C., it's just, yeah, everybody just accuses him of being gay, and he said, and there's really no pushback from it, So that's not the secret. But no, I hope that Mark Lynch beats Lindsey Graham. 100% I do, because I think Lindsey Graham is a crazy sociopath who is totally drunk on power, and I also think it's weird. I think his apparent gayness is really strange from one of the most conservative states in South Carolina.
So somebody was asking Wilson, who is I'm going to tell you something, man. Please, Wilson, take care of your heart. Take care of your health. We love you.
Is he in trouble?
No.
Okay.
We just love him in the comments. He's incredible. What is the replacement prospect for Lindsey? Right? And you and I know that,
Yeah, Mark Lynch.
Mark Lynch, but can you tell our listening audience a little bit more about Mark Lynch? Because I think that it's not getting any publicity, and I think, and I want to ask you guys this: had Kavanaugh not happened, would Lindsey Graham be such a thorn in our side right now, or would he have already been primaried out of this?
No, you're talking about him standing up for Kavanaugh?
Yeah, man, because he was damn, man, he made it on SNL.
Right.
Like, he was a parody on SNL because of his...
I think I think Lindsey still would have survived. I mean, Lindsey survived, whether when he was like, "Gosh, you guys love power, and I hope you never get it." It was a move. It was a moment where we were like, "Thank you.
Yes,
this is ridiculous. Like, let's go find."
Yes.
But at the same time, he was begging. He was on Sean Hannity when he ran the last time, just begging for money.
Yeah.
It was this call
like,
to
they're trying to
arm.
convict me.
Yeah,
Was that when he was drunk, or
Yeah,
was that a
it
different time he was on Hannity?
Yeah, that was a different. That was
Yeah.
a different time.
Wilson, I am so sorry. I forgot. You are Wanda. You are a female.
Yeah,
And
I was wondering
I
when
do
you
that
said that.
all
I was
that
like, Wait a
time.
minute, it's Wanda.
Because my brain, when I see Wilson, I go to Home Improvement. Wilson
howdy
over the
ho,
thing,
neighbor.
like howdy ho, neighbor. And I am so sorry. Wanda. We love you.
Sorry, Wanda.
But tell us about Mark Lynch.
Yeah, so Mark Lynch is a business owner. His father, successfully built a furniture business, and Mark's taken it to the next level there in South Carolina. Furniture and appliances. I just know this because I've interviewed him before, and he's a Christian, an outspoken Christian, and he, the Lindsey Graham campaign is actually trying to attack him because 40 plus years ago, Mark Lynch was arrested for drugs, cocaine, and
40 years ago.
40 years ago.
Okay.
Which would have been the 80s, which I'm told everybody was doing cocaine.
Everybody was doing. So everybody had. Listen, let's just be honest. Everybody had cocaine in their pockets and AIDS in their body.
Yeah.
There we go. What did I?
Sorry.
Did I say something wrong?
Okay, Eddie Murphy. Good grief.
Listen, you want a little AIDS? I got the AIDS for you.
No, the Eddie Murphy reference probably no one gets, but he has in the Eddie Murphy Raw, he had that whole stand up when he was in the 80s in the red jumpsuit and just has these jokes. You go back and listen to them that are so politically incorrect about if you're gay, you 100% have AIDS.
You got it. You already got the booty. They call it the booty flu.
Yeah, which
booty flu.
Which, according to CDC,
Eric is so uncomfortable. He was not in the same running crowds as you and I, Paul, in college, where the booty flu was talked about a lot. Eric is just innocent. He went to a Christian school. He was raised in this good Christian home, and I know you were as well, Paul. But
I had teetotaler parents and
yeah.
that stuff.
He had a nuclear home. His dad is a great man. I've met his parents, and they're great people and all that. So he had this good upbringing here. But he didn't have the party days that you and I had in college.
According to
he went to Mizzou, by the way, too.
No, I went to Harding. My wife went to
Oh,
Mizzou.
yeah, that's right. But you're from Missouri.
I am. I am.
Yeah.
So
Mr. Freddie Mercury over here.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, like I'm
talking about booty flu.
Booty flu.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what the booty
break
flu
out.
is.
Well, I know what that is, but I don't know what
You
you're
heard
talking
about
about.
the
Like
booty flu?
my days in college make me familiar with the booty flu.
You know.
I don't know what
Paul.
you're talking about.
You and I were heterosexuals in the theater department.
There were gay men that
Okay.
will talk about
That's
that.
what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Don't leave me out here to hang.
No,
don't
I'm
hang me out to
I'm
dry.
glad you clarified that. That's what
We
you were
were
talking about.
we were two straight men in a jungle of booty flu.
I mean,
Theater department.
here's the deal. Here's the deal on
I'm
that.
just gonna back up away.
I'm not.
Oh,
You know
man.
what? None of them are listening to this show anyway.
Like
so
our
it
comments,
doesn't matter.
the comments
It
just
doesn't
shut down. They're like, I don't know what these guys are talking about.
According to CDC statistics today, though, the Eddie Murphy jokes are totally accurate. Like if you go back and you go watch that Eddie Murphy Raw where he's making these jokes, assuming that if you are gay, you do have AIDS. Statistically speaking, you are way more likely to have HIV. Now,
Well, and I will say this: Chappelle, was it Dave? No, Chris Rock. Chris Rock talked about. He's like, hey, medicine doesn't cure anything, right? They won't cure anything. They're still griping about polio, and he's like, 20 years from now, people are gonna be like, oh, where were you yesterday, Johnny? Sorry, my AIDS was acting up, right? But isn't that where we are? They've fundamentally sort of cured.
well, have you ever looked into the Anthony Fauci stuff with AIDS?
No.
There are
No.
there are people that claim that Fauci was responsible for the treatment that was used for AIDS patients that actually was the remdesivir of its time. And so the drug that Fauci pushed on the AIDS epidemic actually made the death toll higher.
I can't stand.
And there are
every time Fauci gets brought up, our chat lights up with that stuff.
Yeah,
Okay. So they know.
They know.
Meaning, it's not that AIDS wasn't. Obviously, AIDS was real. I know there's some people that think it was made in a lab, but the bottom line is there were gay activists back in California back in the day. You could go find the protest signs where they were starting to figure it out.
They were protesting.
They were getting HIV. Their friends were dying when they would take the drug.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson, who didn't take that drug, right?
Yeah.
Like in the South Park had that great show where it's like, large amounts of cash are the cure.
Right, the Magic Johnson, that's how he was cured. And it was like, I sleep in this bed every night. And then they open up his bedroom door and it's piles of cash.
Right.
And he sleeps on piles of cash. South Park for the win. They usually, kind of get everybody. Of course,
back to Mark
They
Lynch,
hate Trump.
real quick.
But anyway,
Okay.
go back to Mark
Yes,
Lynch and
okay.
don't talk about the booty
Real
flu.
quick. So everybody was doing cocaine in the 80s. No. So he was actually really interesting because Lindsey Graham, he's desperate trying to go after Mark Lynch and say, you made this mistake 40 years ago. And Mark Lynch has actually used it as a platform to tell people about how God saved him from that and how he was able to turn his life around. And it was a wake-up call in his life. And he now even has a ministry for people, who have a drug problem.
We've all had a wake up. So we've all had some sort of wake up call in our life.
So, but the bottom line is Mark Lynch, he knows, Donald Trump endorsed Lindsey Graham, obviously, but his stance is, look, I think the people of South Carolina don't like this. I think they're tired of Lindsey Graham. You can't trust him. He's only around every, 5 years. And also, Lindsey Graham and Donald Trump came through Pickens, South Carolina, not too long ago, where he was, Lindsey Graham come up on stage, and the people just booed him. I mean, they absolutely cannot stand this man. And so I think South Carolina is a open primary, so it's not a close primary, so you never know. You can get basically anybody to vote there.
Yeah.
But I do have some good news on South Carolina that I can share with you about the redistricting fight. Let's see, where did this go? I thought I had this pulled. Yeah, here it is. Eric Daugherty reporting this. The South Carolina House has just passed a 7-Republican 0D 2026 map set to eliminate Jim Clyburn's Democrat seat.
Because he announced that he's running for re-election at 84 years old, or however old he is.
That's insane.
Like, does this matter? Okay, I'm gonna throw this out at you. Do you know who won Joe Biden the presidency?
I do not.
Yeah.
It was absolutely
Jim Clyburn.
Clyburn's endorsement
He got
in South
the
Carolina.
Super Tuesday vote after the Iowa caucuses went
He was
down
down.
for Biden. And,
So it was
and
Iowa. Was
Bernie,
there?
It was after Iowa, so Clyburn came over the top after that and invigorated the base of the Democratic Party to make sure New Hampshire and all those other states on the second round of endorsements and primary that
is exactly right.
Absolutely
So
how that
Joe
happened.
Biden was getting smoked, absolutely smoked. Clyburn came out. Clyburn came out and endorsed him, and then what we had was Super Tuesday, and South Carolina went for Joe Biden, which was his first win.
Yes,
right, because
that's
it was in the eastern time zone of Super Tuesday, and he won. And I can't remember if South Carolina was Super Tuesday, but I feel like it was.
I can't remember either.
Suffice it to say that Clyburn got Biden like out of the depths. And so I just don't know that I can ever forgive that, right? Because Clyburn came out and he's like, well, I'm endorsing Joe Biden and all of that stuff. Why? What evidence did you have that Joe Biden was the best person to run this country? In fact, he couldn't even make it 4 years because he had to drop out. He had already announced that he was going to run for re-election, and he dropped out. And so and now Clyburn, who a lot of people from what I hear in South Carolina are pandering for him to step aside, let some younger blood to come in there, and he's announced his re-election. So much so that South Carolina decides to redistrict,
Yep.
and Clyburn's seat is going to be gone. South Carolina is a very, very red state, but Clyburn has been a staple in that state for many years.
So, according to this tweet, it now says that it's going to head to the Senate. Now, that's going to be the hurdle.
Right, because you got that douchebag there.
Right, but I don't think you need. I think in the previous session, this is a special session that they called. In the previous session, I think you needed a higher threshold percentage-wise than you do now. That is how I understand it. I could be wrong, but that was a reporter out of South Carolina that said that a couple of weeks ago. And now that they've called a special session, I don't think they need the 2/3 or whatever. I think they may be able to pass this with a simple majority.
Okay.
And if that's the case, it should go, smooth sailing, and we don't have to listen to this idiot say we need a vibrant Democrat Party for the good of our country. What a moron.
Well, is it like in the United States? I mean, forgive my ignorance, but is it like in the U.S. Senate where the majority leader is the one who decides what makes it for a vote?
I don't think a lot of these state houses are not like that.
Okay.
I know D.C.
Like
is
it's gotta
very
come
much
up?
controlled. I think I know in Arkansas, and some of these D.C. types have lamented this when they come back to serve, but they think it's ridiculous that if you are a member and you file a bill, you get a hearing on that bill. In Arkansas, you
Perish
get a
the
hearing.
thought.
I know, right?
Right.
That is not the case in D.C. There is a process.
Yeah.
You may be in Congress for 10 years and
How
never
much-
have one of your bills make it to a committee hearing.
You want to know who's never had a single solitary bill passed, and he's in the United States Senate, and he's a prominent person?
You mean, can I guess?
Sure.
Republican, Democrat.
I'm going to go with Democrat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prominent person, Republican, Democrat.
Been in the Senate for a long time.
Bernie Sanders.
Feel the burn, baby. Bernie
Tell you
Sanders
that.
has never
I didn't
had
look
a
that up either. I already
single
knew that.
solitary
Never.
bill that he authored
Never.
passed in the United States Senate.
And yet he's a chairman of like some committees or was.
He's automatic.
Or a subcommittee.
Yeah, and he's
when
automatic.
they're in power.
He's automatic when he's up for election, for re-election. He's automatic he's automatic when the Democrats are in charge and they put him in on these committees and stuff. He's automatic.
Wow.
Why? What substantial thing have you ever done to serve? Number one, excuse me. If you've never had a bill passed, I would assume that it originates out of something that's going to help the state of Vermont, right? Like that's ultimately what the goal is. We've got 2 senators per state. Like you're producing this bill that's going to ultimately aid the people of your state. If that's not the system that we're in, then why do it? I understand I'm being naive here, but if it's going to originate out of the state of Vermont, hey, this will be good for, I don't know what Vermontians, or is it Vermontians or whatever? I don't know what they're called.
We can look it up.
Of course. There you go. So
Vermontians.
it's going to
I love
start
that.
with that. But then it's also going to serve the United States. If you've been in office for 36 years and you've never produced one bit of legislation that has helped your state, number one, and then your country, number two, why the hell are you in there? Because you got this great ability to speak. Get rid of the billionaires. Now that I'm a millionaire, I used to say get rid of the millionaires. Now, get rid of the billionaires.
He's his word.
Yeah.
Oligarchy.
The oligarchy here.
Oligarchy.
Get rid of it. 1.21 gigawatts, Marty. Like that's what I feel. That's what I feel. Like you're freaking Doc Brown, but Doc Brown at least stole the plutonium from the Libyans. Marty. Yeah.
How dare you?
No. I can't stand Donald Trump.
Bernie
That's
Sanders, just
literally
for the
his
record,
shtick.
For the record, Bernie Sanders is working hard for all Vermonters.
Vermonters. Okay. Well, that's pretty good.
is the
That's pretty good.
phrase there.
I'll take that.
All right,
Vermonters.
We're gonna get
What it's better than New York. Like, do you know what New York is?
I thought it was New Yorkers.
No,
Yonkers?
New Yorkers.
Oh, come on.
Who the hell says that?
Nobody.
I've always heard New Yorkers, but it's apparently New Euricans.
I don't believe
No,
that at
it's
all. There's no way. There is no way, Rob, that is.
Google it.
We will Google this when we come back from break. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back here in just a moment. This is the Paul Harrell Program. Thanks so much for being with us. We got to take a local break. Back in a minute.
For centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red Vive.
The other things that we're seeing, more and more use for is even vascular issues. So one of the mechanisms that red light, near-infrared light, or Red Vive works is stimulation of the mitochondria and stimulation of nitric oxide production. So when nitric oxide is released in cells, it vasodilates cells. It reduces inflammation. It moves blood. It brings blood flow to areas. So if folks that have issues with ulcers or burns or wounds, it can help stimulate increased blood supply, and you need blood to heal. So that can open up different avenues for peripheral artery disease, for neuropathic pain syndromes. And so that's one of the other areas for nerve injury or nerve pain that we can leverage this type of medicine.
My name is John, and this is my beautiful wife, Lori, and this is our Star Wars Ewok. His name is Scout, and we have Scout for about 11 years now, and we started noticing about 3 years ago he started slowing down. He was unable to jump on the bed. He was kind of a little bit grumpier, and when my daughters, Massie and Mariah, would take him on walks, he would walk for about 30 yards, and then he'd lay down, and they'd carry him the rest of the way. So I heard about Pet Club 24/7 and about the products from a gentleman that I really trust and share a friendship with. And he mentioned to me that they have products that are going to help him with his arthritis, help him build his immune system. And I said, okay, no problem. Let's try them out. And I kid you guys not, within about 2 to 3 days, we started noticing a little difference. And then we took Scout on a walk probably about a week after we started using the products, the mush puppies, and he would walk the entire way. He would walk at least a mile, and it's just been completely amazing. He's a new dog. He's 11 years old, which is around 80 years in dog years, and he's just happy. He's more energetic. He's not the grumpy old man he used to be, and we're just so thankful. And it was perfect timing because we lost our boxer Yankee about a year and a half ago, and it was really hard on us. So I'm so thankful for Pet Club 24/7 for the products that they offer. Imagine if you could have your best friend around one more day or one more week or even one more year. I'm so blessed and thankful that we were able to find this company and find these products for Scout. So thank you guys. Give it a shot. We appreciate you. God bless everyone.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're going to take this to the chat. We're going to take this to the jury. So, before we went to break, Rob Spencer, with authority, says that people from New York are called New Euricans, not necessarily, and I'm being charitable here, not necessarily New Yorkers. I'm being very charitable here because I think if we were to play the tape back, you were like, no, they don't call themselves that. They call themselves New Euricans.
I don't know if I said that.
Maybe you didn't. So I'm saying.
Listen, let me do a Democrat backtrack.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me get the Hakeem Jeffries hand motions going here. What I said was, I think that they're called New Euricans, but we need to confirm it because I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure if you rolled the tape back, that's what it would be
Okay,
called.
so here is what the Google machine says. I say, have New Yorkers ever been called New Euricans? Now, the reason I said it is because when I Googled what are New Yorkers or what are people from New York called, New Yorkers is what comes up. But it says this, the AI says that, yes, Puerto Ricans living in or around New York City, as well as their descendants, are commonly referred to as New Euricans.
Oh, there you go. That's where I got it.
Okay, so that's it.
I read it once.
We're moving on. Okay. Well, so it was partially true. It was partially true.
It was 100% true.
That's the thing. Like
100%. You take the partially out.
That's what we're saying. Paul Harrell program is is partially true 100% of the time.
Listen, and we're honored to have.
We're
honored to have.
That doesn't make sense.
We are honored to have our New Yorkers listening in here in this great state of New York minus New York City.
Okay, so next up we have this. I want to get Rob. Rob's a real estate agent, New Horizon Real Estate. Want to get his opinion on this. Mm-hmm. The House has overwhelmingly passed a Trump-backed bill to restrict companies like BlackRock from buying up single-family homes. What do you think about this? It's going to head to the Senate, then to the president's desk. What are your thoughts?
So it needs to happen because what was happening here is they were on a trajectory. And I've said this on the show months ago, but they were on a trajectory. The Vanguards and the BlackRocks of the world were on a trajectory where they were going to own 60% of all single-family homes by 2030. And we are, almost halfway through 2026 here at this point. So they were on this. I mean, it's just a record ascent. And the only thing that slowed them down was high interest rates. But if you ever listed your house, in the last, 4 or 5 years, you probably received some offer for a cash offer. And it's coming from the BlackRocks and the Vanguards of the world where they are offering you this cash for your property, easy sale, all of that stuff. And then they're going to turn around and they're going to rent it out. And if they controlled 60% of all single family properties, they control the rental market. There's really no dissension there. And it even, like how much longer before they owned it all, where home ownership in the United States is gone and now we're all just renters, right? The Grant Cardones of the world would love that, right? He's not big on
World Economic Forum would love it too.
Well, sure. So I think that something needed to be done there because if I'm a real estate agent and I go to list a property and I go to list it for sale and we get this cash offer, my seller is got this dilemma. Do I want to go ahead and sell it to, an Eric Haynes with a family or something like that? Do I want to do that, or do I want to do this easy cash, quick closing where I don't have to deal with the drama of inspections and all of that stuff? And so the seller's got that dilemma. Well, many sellers have faced that dilemma, and what have they done? They've sold their properties to the BlackRocks and the Vanguards of the world. Well, now they have control of all of the rental properties. I don't have a problem with them owning huge apartment complexes. Like that's what it is. But when you own all of the single family properties, you're taking them off the market. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be allowed to be sold on the open market because the only time that you sell those, if you own rental properties, the only time that you sell those are as if they are in a state of disrepair, or you need to move that property off of your books, and then you use those funds with a 1031 tax exchange and you move it over to something else.
Or they're sold to another big conglomerate in bulk with
Correct.
all the rest of their property.
Correct, which means they just control this stuff. So it affects renters because now they control the rental market and they can decide how much the rent is, not the market. And then number two, it affects people who are wanting to be owner-occupieds because there's less inventory. There's less inventory out there for them to choose from because these conglomerates own all of these properties. So it's bad all the way around. I think, it's okay to have rental properties. I own rental properties. The reason that we own these rental properties is not because it's supposed to be this way of life. It's supposed to be, hey, come rent for me for a year, maybe 2, get your credit situation figured out, and then go buy another property. Boom, I got this next person in here to take your place. all of that stuff, that's the American dream, right? Like, let's go, let's rent, let's build some rental, let's get our finances in order, and let's buy a property. But if all of these huge conglomerates own the properties, those will never come up for sale, which creates a housing shortage, which drives up the prices of these properties. It's just a bad all the way around. So I can't endorse this enough.
Yeah.
Because it's huge, huge. And you look at the vote total there, 396 to 13. I want to say, who the hell are these 13?
I got them listed right here.
Go for it.
You know who's one of them? Lauren Boebert.
Really?
Why?
Schweigert, Andy Biggs. I mean, you've got Republican Congress folks from Arizona, California, Colorado, Florida, Louisiana, Maryland, Missouri, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and Texas.
I wonder what. My first question is, I wonder what else is in the bill.
Randy Fine voted against it. Yeah, I mean, there's
That's a potpourri of congressmen. That's an eclectic group of congressmen,
Yeah.
Republicans.
yeah, it's interesting.
I would be interested to know what else is in the bill.
The only thing I can think of is that those individuals, because what is the argument against banning them? Because I think it's if you have over 500 million in assets, you cannot purchase these properties. Okay, far be it for me to ever agree with the Democrats, but there's not a single solitary Democrat on that list, Paul.
Right.
That we can, our listening audience and viewing audience can't see the list that Paul has pulled up, but there's not a single solitary Democrat on the list of 13 people who voted against it. And so what I would want to do is say, hey, 13 people, let's look at your campaign finance donations.
That's exactly my thought too.
Yeah.
How much are they being paid?
Yeah.
In their
Because
coffers?
if BlackRock is putting a lot of money in your pocket and that's why you voted the way you voted, shame on you. And I understand that that's the way that the world works, but you have to know that you're a ceremonial no vote at that point. Like, you could read the room. So if you've read the room and know that you're a ceremonial no vote, like, hell, I'm telling BlackRock, like, hey, guys, I'm with you. Let me work some behind the scenes stuff here. But I don't want to be a public no vote because it's not going to go well for me.
Yeah.
If 400, I mean, what is it, 420?
What, 35?
Yeah.
435.
So there's 435 total, right?
.us.
Okay. But if 400 people
What?
are voting in favor of it and 13 people are voting against it,
Yeah.
like, you got to know you're on an island by yourself. And what message does that send? Not only to the American people, but more importantly, to your local voters. You anybody that's paying high rent should think about, next time they go to the polls, they should think about, oh, Lauren Boebert voted for higher rent. Essentially, that's what it is, and I could see the ad campaigns brewing right now.
Yeah.
What's the title of that bill?
House Resolution 1299.
No, the actual title.
Oh, 21st Century Road to Housing Act. I love govtrack.us, by the way, because you can just type in the resolution number and it'll give you an exact breakdown of votes.
Okay, just real quick, this is a breakdown that I have right here. Just have a brief search because I'm wondering what exactly is in it. The housing, let's see, the House of the 21st Century Act, the Senate's Road to Housing Act, the bill is in usually broad bipartisan support. Okay, it's got Tim Scott supporting it, Elizabeth Warren supporting it. The big picture, America's housing is in crisis, large population supply. The bill attempts to build more housing, reduce construction costs, modernize federal housing programs, and make it easier for families to buy homes. Cutting regulations and red tape. Supporters say housing takes too long to build. Regulations inflate cost. Faster approvals mean cheaper housing. The bill tries to eliminate environmental reviews, HUD approvals, construction compliance, and federal permits.
Oh, I perish the thought.
Let's see. Increasing housing supply, manufacturers, restricting large institutional investors. This became one of... So it is more than just BlackRock. It's those other things,
Okay.
too. So there are other variables, but But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
this is the meat of it. Let's be honest, Paul. This is the meat of it.
I would agree. I mean, well, this is the conspiratorial. Look, okay, this is a conspiracy theory that is being addressed. The conspiracy theory is that these giant corporations want to enslave the people,
and
okay?
they can if they control the entire rental market.
And so, no, you shouldn't be allowed to do this. You shouldn't. Now, this tweet over here says from Watcher Guru. It says the White House has backed the revised bill after lawmakers removed a Senate provision requiring major investors with 350 or more units to sell newly built rental homes within 7 years.
Yeah, I don't like that. If you already own them, it is what it is.
Yeah, housing, rental, and construction groups supported the change. The bill now heads back to the Senate, where its path is uncertain. Lawmakers remain divided over how far Congress should go in restricting build-to-rent housing and investor ownership.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to put the crap back in the horse here, like if you're trying to do that, then I'm not down with that.
Well, people have made investments. You can't, I can see how that would be wrong. Where it's like, okay, so now I've made all these investments. You changed the law, and now I can't do it, so I'm out all this money.
Correct. Let's not go back in time here, and that's what ultimately what they were trying to do is if you already own these, you have to sell them within 7 years. So I do agree with that. I don't know who initiated that.
Well, and
change to the bill.
and if BlackRock did that, what would they do? If they had to do that, they would probably just create their own shell companies.
Sure,
and sell
they'd create all these companies.
Sell them to their own, shell companies.
And I don't know how much. I don't know because you can have, multiple LLCs under an umbrella of bigger LLC, and I don't know how far it tracks back, and I don't know what checks and balances are put in place. It seems like investors are always one step ahead. True savvy investors are always ahead of the game. So essentially, I don't know how far down that would go. Could you create something where it's kind of like was it FDIC that our money is insured up to $250,000? So what do you do if you have $1 million? You just open 4 accounts.
Exactly.
Right. So I don't know if that's the same sort of mentality here with this 350 model, but regardless, it's going to at least restrict them from just mass buying all of these properties. It's going to create an extra hurdle.
So I've got to cover this just because I used to cover the what I consider the ridiculous things that this guy used to say. But Barney Frank has passed away of congestive heart failure at 86 years old. Daily Caller reporting that the 16-term Democratic Massachusetts Congressman Barney Frank died of congestive heart failure. He was first elected in 1980. Wow. 1980. It's a long time.
Wow.
A baby.
I wasn't born yet. I was
born in October of Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I shouldn't tell my birthday.
Yeah, probably should
late 79. How about that?
What's interesting on this, and I should have pulled the clip, but recently on his deathbed, basically, he went on State of the Union with Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. And he was in hospice. And this is what he said, quote, about the Democrat Party, quote, as we succeeded in bringing the mainstream of the left into a concern with inequality, we also enabled people who wanted to use that as a platform for a wide range of social and cultural changes, some of which the public isn't ready for. He added that gay rights activists such as himself did not start calling for same-sex marriage to be legal until other things had been resolved.
Oh, yeah.
He's exactly right. There was a strategy that the gays had. There was a book entitled After the Ball, and it says never talk about marriage, never talk about sex, only talk about love. You have to talk about love. Love is love, and then eventually we'll get what we want. Basically, Barney Frank on his deathbed is saying you trans people are putting the cart before the horse, and really kind of exposing their strategy of gradual debauchery, I would argue. He says, I think in the interest of the transgender community as well as others, it would be better to go at that in a more granular way and not simply announce that if you don't support it, you're a homophobe. He says, for a lot of my colleagues, the argument has been, well, we don't support defund the police or open borders, and we don't say we do. Frank added this. He said, but my point is, no, it's not enough to be silent. We have to explicitly repudiate it. Here is Barney Frank on the Democrats, on his deathbed, saying, You guys have gone way too far, and you've got to actually correct the radicals in your own party if you want to have a shot at this. He basically says you're going to keep losing if you continue to do this.
Well, think about what we've done on the right, and we've alienated the far right, radical, KKK, white nationals, all of these. Like we have sent them out to pasture here and just said, hey, you're not part of us. Don't
to such a degree.
Well, the Southern Poverty
saying.
Law Center tried to bring them back.
That's
though.
what I'm saying. They're so ostracized that they have to frame the right for racism that doesn't even exist.
That's
the Southern Poverty Law Center would disagree with you there.
We paid good money for those racists.
Yeah, the Southern Poverty Law Center. We've been paying our informants off. Well, what are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. So, but what
we did the Clayton Bigsby skit on Dave Chappelle. It wasn't Chappelle. That was us.
Oh my God. So think about this. Think about this. So we've done that. We've, you said ostracized. That's a great word. So we've ostracized these individuals who are just sitting there hating on people that they hate on the Jews, they hate on the blacks, they hate on the Hispanics, anybody that's not white, they just hate on them. And I'm like, nope, you're not part of us. Get away. Quit. Don't have a Republican after your name. Certainly don't try to say that you're a conservative, because that's just not the way that it is. I mean, let's just be honest. The Republicans freed the slaves. So you are not in our same ballpark. But the left just hasn't done it. And I want to go back to the battle that was Nancy Pelosi and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That battle, when she was still speaker, and this is in Trump 1.0, so the last 2 years of her speakership, she battled with AOC, because AOC came in, she was just, full of all this bluster and all this blowhard crap and all of that stuff that just built her big rise to fame. And what did Nancy do? I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was rumors of, and I believe this is probably confirmed, of a backdoor meeting between Pelosi and AOC, and Pelosi put her in her place.
Yeah.
And said, you're going to shut the hell up, or you're at least going to fall in line. So the radical leftists, the ones that have changed it from pedophile to MAP, minor attracted person, like those far leftists, the ones that believe that men should be able to compete with women in sports, and I'm talking about biological men against biological women, that part of their party has not been sent out to pasture the way that we have sent out the far right.
Yeah.
And for I
until
hold
Swalwell.
Well, Swalwell. Now Swalwell, let's just be honest, Swalwell was a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
Because all of this stuff was well known, but it was put into play when he was seen as a threat. And so he's going to run for governor of California, and so they're like, "Whoa, we can't have that." Boom. It's like Gavin Newsom talked about recently. In case of emergency break glass, that's what they did with Swalwell.
Good point.
Right? And so the left has not sent their crazies out. They've not sent them out to pasture. The right has done that. And so I will hold a lot of proudness, I guess you want to call it, or at least I will have a lot of solace in the fact that we have done that. Like, you are not us.
Yeah.
But over here on the left, and this is why I'm so frustrated and why I was good with Thomas Massie losing, is that the left joins ranks. They fall in line. Mm-hmm. They follow orders. The right doesn't do that. We are a coalition, as you like to say, Paul. We are a coalition. Thomas Massie, you weren't falling in line over here on the right, so you got ousted.
So we're a coalition to a point. Well,
We're a coalition.
as far as Trump is concerned, a coalition to a point, right? I mean,
I think for such a time as this, Paul, the right, with our varying opinions, needs to join ranks the way that the left does, because they're not going to send their crazies out to pasture. We've sent our crazies out to pasture. They're not going to do it on the left. We've got to join ranks, because if they come back into power again, we're in trouble.
We are in trouble. Speaking of the crazies on the left, you sent me this morning from Fox 13
Listen,
Seattle.
I got angry.
I cannot imagine being so committed to your religious dogma that you actively harm other people in such a passive aggressive, like what you are about to see is going to absolutely enrage you. This has to do with a school board. Go ahead, set it up, Rob.
Well, I was just trying to say this. So we all understand the importance of a school resource officer. If your child goes to public schools, you feel a certain amount of peace. The fact that there is an armed person that is there who is protecting that child. Now, it's one person, but we saw here recently, and I forget what state it was in. I want to say it was Oklahoma.
Principal. That wasn't SRO. That was just the principal.
That was the principal who took
tackled some guy.
Took a bullet while he was doing it, right? And so the SRO would be in a much better advantage, a much better situation, because he or she would be able to, return fire and all of this stuff. So the SROs, if I talk about it all the time. Like if I were to ever win the lottery or whatever, I would pay for multiple SROs, because I've got 3 kids, all of varying ages. I'd pay for multiple SROs at that school, because I would send them to this school and have a lot more peace in my mind, the fact that there's a police officer there. So the school board here at this school here in Bothell High School, the school board voted to get rid of their SRO. And I'm not going to give away the ending here, but I want the school board actually speaks here, and it's just absolutely asinine. I don't understand how these people are not voted out. I understand it's liberal Seattle, but damn, man, can you imagine being so inundated with your ideology that you do this?
Hundreds of Bothell High School students staged a walkout on Monday.
Said Bothell High School walked out of class today protesting the North Shore School District's move to end the school resource officer program that's been around for decades. Bothell High School has been the only school with an assigned officer, and the vote by board members last week terminates the safety program at the end of this school year. Hundreds of kids walked out of Bothell High School this morning.
I feel that the decision is misrepresenting students at Bothell.
It is clear from the large walkout that Officer Garrett Ware is having a profound impact on this community.
He stopped 2 of my friends from overdosing. He stopped 2 of my friends from vaping and stopped 1 of my friends from killing themselves.
Last week, dozens of people showed up to the board meeting.
I know Officer Ware is going to be there for me no matter what.
Students and parents pleaded with school board members to keep Officer Ware in school, to no avail.
You are correct in saying that you have elected all of us to represent you, but you also elect us to vote our conscience. And you don't all get all of the information.
All right, please, you had your opportunity to speak.
Board member Carson Sanderson continued to say this.
It concerns me that we are placing a police officer in a position as a confidant for students, encouraging them to tell him everything that concerns them or worries them, when those things can be used against them legally.
Oh my God. They're not suspected
With the exception
of a crime,
Sandy
you
Hayes,
idiot.
the other 4 board members voted to get rid of the SRO program.
Look at them.
They indicated it was not anything personal against Officer Ware, but they used words like racial, equity, and educational justice in their dialogue before the vote.
If I vote to continue this contract, I'm continuing harm for one group
who do not have the choice to opt out of the program.
They're using some reports of colored students feeling unsafe with the officer on campus, but they're not able to provide those reports.
They voted without educating themselves on what he does at this school on a day-to-day basis. It's not just about safety. He engages with everyone on this campus. They adore him. They love him.
Officer Ware has been an SRO at Bothell High School since 2017. This change.org petition has been posted to raise money to keep him, but supporters say the issue is really not about budget and whether the district can afford Officer Ware. But as you heard, some of the board members, it's about their conscience and, quote, social justice. This afternoon, we received a statement from School Board President Sandy Hayes. It says in part, quote, we recognize that our students and community members may hold differing perspectives regarding board decisions and district issues. The ability to express disagreement respectfully and engage in civic dialogue is an important part of a healthy democratic society and an important aspect of our students' education.
So this is how I see it.
Pleaded with school board members to keep.
You got a bunch of liberal white women that can't stand that. Look at that ginger white man's face. Yeah. It goes against everything they believe.
Would they have gotten rid of him if he's black?
Nope, not a chance.
If he's a minority,
not a chance. If it was a black cop, they wouldn't have gotten rid of him. These. I mean, it's insane. It's literally insane.
Yeah.
All these students saying, "Hey, this is a great guy." You know, you gotta think that the defund the police angle is also ingrained in these people as well, where they're like, we don't want them to think police officers are nice. We don't want them to think that they're public servants. This guy apparently actually not only wants to protect them, but he actually cares about them as human beings.
Yeah.
It sounds like he actually cares. He knows that these kids have a soul, and they need to be protected and listened to and respected in a way that would set them up for success later in life.
So I used to be a school teacher, and if I remember correctly, we had 3 different SROs whenever I was a school teacher. Every one of them had a great relationship with our student body. And the reason is because he didn't want them to be afraid of the police. He didn't want them. I remember our police chief coming and speaking to our students and said that he was walking into to Walmart, and a mom tells her kid, 7-year-old kid, saying, "Hey, see him? See that gun? If you don't do what you're supposed to do, he's going to come get you." And he stopped her right there. And he tells this story. He told it to all these high school students, and he said, "I don't want people to be afraid of the police." Okay, you're taking a parenting moment and you're trying to apply it to someone who is breaking the law. I understand what you're doing. Please don't do that. We don't want people to be afraid of the police. Now, are there tyrannical police officers? Hell to the yeah. The people that get their feelings hurt because you won't do what they're wanting you to do, and they're used to running a rule in the roost and all of that stuff. We understand that those people exist, right? This guy, by all accounts, was a confidant in many ways to the student body. And is that the kind of relationship that we want with the police? The people that are do you want the people to be afraid to call the police if you're in danger? Or do you want to say, I hope someone like my SRO shows up, at the scene here because I need help? Their ideology is so rotten. They're so rotten to the core that they believe that they're living on the side of righteousness. Mm-hmm. And I will never be able to understand how you could do that. You have now made your children way more in danger than they were before this year. So when the kids come back in the fall, they're in way more danger.
Does this not kind of sum up just the microcosm of all elected officials in a way? Like a different, to make a decision that you're claiming is for the good, but it actually harms the people in your care. Doesn't that sum up how most Americans feel about all of our institutions that are supposed to represent us and do our will or look out for us?
What did Ronald Reagan say? The most dangerous words.
Yeah, I'm here and I'm here to help. I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
And I'm here to help. The most dangerous words, scary words in the English language. Oh, these people were elected officials for this school board, and every one of them can go to hell, for my opinion. Because you just put children in danger because of your sick, twisted, warped ideology. You can kiss my ass.
Yeah, we've got a comment here from, what is this, Chameleon 4 Babes. Are they all dumbass women? God save America. Us again, I guess. Washington State got rid of it. Okay, so this Calpurnia61 says, BS, Washington State got rid of a black female chief of police because she disagreed with the Floyd protests. Ooh. Oh, so that's a pushback on what we said. You know, I said if it was a black guy, they wouldn't have done anything.
Well, that's
it does go to show you
but think about it this, like the Wesley Hunts of the world, you know, the Byron Donalds of the world, they get you know, a lot of pushback because they're black men who are Republicans. And everybody's like, oh, you're Uncle Tom, you're this or that.
Black Republicans,
right? And, you know, let's just be honest. Take this absolute idiot in Tennessee that's making all the rounds here.
Oh, you're talking about Justin Pearson?
Yeah, Justin Peterson.
Justin Pearson.
Yes.
His name is Pearson. Now get it right.
Okay.
Boy.
Idiot. Absolute moron. Take him. And take him. So if you are a let me just say this, if you're a black parent, right? Like two black people, you know, husband and wife, and that you are raising a black child, do you want this effing moron from Tennessee, Justin Peterson,
Memphis,
right? From Memphis, Tennessee, do you want him,
you guys,
or do you want Wesley Hunt as your son's role model? And if you want to say Justin Peterson, then you are part of the problem, because that man does no good for society. All he does is bluster and blow hard. A Wesley Hunt of the world, a Byron Donalds of the world, intelligent, educated black men who are going out there and saying, my value as a human being, number one, lies in my you know, the fact that I am a child of God.
Character.
Yes. Like, I'm a child of God, I am a husband, I am a father, and then on down the list here, I'm a black man.
Yeah. Well, you know, you mentioned intelligence. That's the interesting thing, because, you know, my question was going to be, are you saying Justin Pearson from Memphis is not intelligent? But he actually is.
Yeah.
Because he
lied to get elected.
Right, but they literally have done a juxtaposition. The man was you know, leading a rally, you know, oh, Memphis, we ain't going nowhere in Memphis. We're going to keep going. We're going to go, you know. And then the same day, he goes and sits down in the news studio, and he's like, well, actually, we thought the rally went really good, Sally.
Yeah.
The rally, I got to tell you, I just think it, you know, people are going to vote for me because I'm going to represent them. So the guy actually is such a fraud, and he realizes that this public persona of, you know, Memphis's Malcolm X, he's going to make him more money in the long run, because he's more useful to the left, and this system that's built on.
We grew out the afro versus when he you know, had the short hair and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And now he's wearing like something like, you know, Assalamu alaikum. I don't know, you know, I don't know what he wears now. He wears some sort of shawl.
Yeah, that's,
you know,
that's
some sort
what
of
it is.
scarf. He's like the Deborah Burks, but the Malcolm X version of Deborah Burks.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Justin, listen, I think Justin Peterson watches Roots on loop, you know, and just gets all angry. But let me you said that he's intelligent.
I said that he's intelligent enough to be a pretty good actor.
Sure. Well, but think about like they had his campaign video from when he was trying to get elected versus the way he is now. Right. A Malcolm X wannabe. But when I look at it and I say, all right, so this guy is blustering. He's saying all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Does that mean he's intelligent? Yeah, maybe he's making more money.
It does not mean it is not necessarily a sign of intelligence.
But if you're
President Trump would call him low IQ.
Yeah, he would be low IQ. You're trying to quote advance colored people, people of color. You're trying to advance them. You're doing nothing but put a highlight on the fact that why you cannot be in a position of leadership.
Justin J. Pearson, and I'm running for president of BSG. There are a few reasons that we're running this campaign this year. One has to do with representation. How can we represent all voices in a conversation? I wanted to do this by partnering with organizations from the Boone Democrats to the Boone Republicans. I want to bring together different voices, dissenting voices, voices that may be more liberal or more conservative, in order that we can reach a point of sort of the radical middle.
Here, you've had 3 strikes laws, mass incarceration, denied us of who we are, and we are still here. And today, you'll take the only majority black district from us. But I want you to know, and I want my nephew, sons, and the future to know, no matter what you do, no matter how much you try and break us and make us bend and make us quit, we will still be here.
Okay. I've actually got a theory. Rob, I'm putting the camera on you because I'm going to search for something real quick.
Is that there's no way in the world that's the same guy. 100%. I've seen that video before, but I'm still like in disbelief that this is the same guy. He is a complete moron. And here's why I say that. What did he say in the second video? No matter what you do, we're still going to be here. Well, nobody is out here like just trying to eliminate the color of your skin. Well, there's going to be some. The KKK, I'm sure, would want that. But nobody is trying to eliminate your voice. You still have a voter. You're still a voter. You still have your voter registration card. You're still registered to vote. You can still vote. Nobody's trying to eliminate your voice. We're trying to eliminate the fact that your district was drawn out specifically so that a black representative would be in there. Although, for the last 20 years, it's been an old white man. And the person who is likely to win is a black woman. But she's got a Republican after her name versus Democrat, so we can't have that.
I just want to make an observation. Even if you didn't see the second video here with Pearson, and you just saw the first, what, Eric? You're shaking your head. Even if you just,
I'm running for president of BSG. There are a few reasons that we're running this campaign this year.
Okay, so I know he's younger, but I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say this guy's not necessarily exuding masculinity at all to me. Again, stereotypes exist because they're reinforced every single day. This guy might be a much better actor than we're giving him credit for, and this is because I'm reminded. Do you guys know that Tupac Shakur was once in ballet and was basically a theater kid before he became famous? Did you know this?
Didn't know that.
You turning this into a gay thing?
Yes, I am.
Okay, my name is Tupac Shakur, and I attend Tamalpais High School, and I'm 17 years old.
Do you like being 17?
It's like 17 is such a weird age. It's such a
He's in a leotard, by the way.
You're not 18 yet, and you're older than 16. So. But I like it. It's nice. It's like a learning stage for me.
Do you wish you could be 18 and when you get some more rights?
Well, 18 will bring lots of responsibilities that I don't want, but it'll bring respect that I feel like that's the only way I can get it. You know, I try to be as mature as I can be.
Okay, so
what the hell did I just watch?
You watched a very early version of Tupac Shakur.
You just shattered You just shattered my opinion of Tupac Shakur.
Well, it just made you. It made you ask. It's making you ask a few questions.
You're so white,
It's
Eric.
making you. It's just. I'm sorry. It's making. Look, this came out kind of at the height of those allegations against Will Smith, and not just not just Will Smith, but the stuff with P. Diddy. You guys know the allegations with P. Diddy and those parties.
No.
It wasn't necessarily girls.
Oh yeah.
Allegations of you remember
Pound Town?
remember Carl?
You gotta get caught up on the documentaries.
You remember Carl Winslow from Family Matters?
Listen, I don't want to hear about all the gay sex.
That baby.
I know, but you remember Carl Winslow from Family Matters? Reginald Val Johnson. There's people out there making claims that he and P did, like people witnessed it, people walk. No, you can go. The detail is. That
I heard the Will Smith thing, like somebody walked in and
the
saw
Will
him
Smith
getting
thing. I'm telling you,
bent over.
it was an epidemic during the Biden administration. All of a sudden, it came out that a lot of which is really incredible. The last
Carl Winslow and Puff Daddy.
Yeah, the last. Okay, what's really sad about this is like the last acceptable form within the left's paradigm, the last acceptable form of masculinity was the bald black man in sitcoms and movies could still be masculine and not be a bumbling idiot like the white guy could.
Yeah.
In sitcoms or movies or
the
whatever.
Tim Allens of the world.
The
versus
irony
Carl
is
Winslow.
it came out basically in Biden's administration with the Puff Daddy thing and everything else. It basically came out that a lot of these famous black men that play masculine in the movies are actually closeted homosexuals. I'm just telling you, it's out there.
From what I understand,
way too much homo content.
Listen,
Well, I'm
from
sorry.
what I understand,
it's the
way
truth.
too much today.
From what I understand, everybody's gay. We're all gay. That's all I hear is that we're just gay. We're either gay in practice or we're gay in waiting. And I just am not signing up for that.
I'm not signing up for that either, but I'm telling you, the Harvey Weinstein couch thing went both ways, is what I'm saying. That's what is.
Gosh,
that is what I'm not saying Harvey Weinstein did, but I'm seeing the model. The equation.
I don't want any visual.
The equation is the same.
I like Family Matters
And
too much to go that way with Carl.
I'm sorry, but the allegation was out there made, and it was really sad.
No, that's Home Improvement.
No, that was it.
it.
That was Family Matters. No, that's Full House. You were doing Full House.
Yeah, I was doing Full House.
But no, the allegation is that Reginald Val Johnson, Carl Winslow,
took it.
Gave it. Actually, it was worse. It was like he was hard up for money. Like he needed.
Oh, he prostituted himself out.
That was the allegation.
This is terrible.
On one of these black.
This is the
on
worst
one of these,
day of my life.
One of these black podcasts. Well, I'm sorry to shatter you here, but going back to Justin Pearson, I'm sorry. I am not.
Everything's gay.
I'm just telling you right now.
This guy's gay.
Stop.
Justin Peterson is gay.
I'm just saying I got
Justin J. Pearson.
I got red flags. That's all I'm saying. I got red flags.
That's all it is.
I got red flags.
Yeah, he's gay.
I don't have any.
Allegedly. How about that?
I'm not saying he is gay. All I'm saying is, I watched this young version of him, and I immediately thought of the Tupac Shakur.
Oh, they were talking about. Go ahead.
Of the Tupac Shakur, I immediately thought of that clip there.
Clee was talking. Clee just mentioned this in there. The Rock Hudson. You guys remember that from like the olden days? Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was gay.
Kate Hudson's dad. Do you know that?
I didn't
Kate
know
Hudson's dad.
I did not know
like
that.
Goldie Hawn's daughter.
He. I guess he wasn't always gay. If he hooked up with Goldie, I'm assuming Goldie's a woman. You know?
Well, don't Google transvestigations because you're going to go down. And I don't even know with Goldie. You'll go down a rabbit hole you do not want to go down.
So one of the
transvestigations.
Yes, one of the ones that got me was The Godfather. Who played what was his?
Al Pacino?
No,
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando was bisexual.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Dude slept with men and women, and he admitted it in interviews.
Weird, man. Weird. There's
everybody's gay.
There's weird stuff out there. You go. Look up stuff about even Paul Newman. You go look up. There's people.
Oh I heard that too.
There's claiming Newman's own salad dressing.
You bought that? What I said about Rock Hudson and Kate Hudson?
I don't know. I didn't hear that part, but I do. But I have heard.
You were kidding?
Yes.
See, We are
Wanda said, listen, Wanda said, no, Rock is not Kate Hudson's dad.
Sorry, what are we doing
We've
here?
gone off the rails
Rock
here.
Hudson is
talking about
I just couldn't
gayness.
believe you
I
guys
don't
bought
even
that.
I don't even know who Rock Hudson is. So I was just listening.
You uncultured swine.
But sorry, Rhonda. Rock Hudson is not gay.
Sorry.
There we said it.
Wanda. Not Rhonda.
Rhonda.
Get
Sorry,
it right.
Wanda.
Wanda. Listen.
All right. So speaking of unverified rumors,
Everybody's gay. Listen, the three of us are holding down the straight card here.
Yeah.
We may be the last three guys that are straight. Who knows?
JP Morgan executive Lorna Hadini sues ex-banker Chirayu Rana for defamation over sex slave allegations. Remember her? Is
Chaya the libs of TikTok?
No. Well, no, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I mean, yes, I think that
She's libs of TikTok.
That's her name. Like, I think, but this is the different.
She's
one.
an ex-banker. And so Chaya, I think, was a real estate agent.
Yeah, this is the
is
guy
this the Cannons?
Yeah, this is the Cannons.
Cannons lady?
Yeah. Your fish head wife doesn't have these cannons. That's the.
He wasn't there
Okay,
that
you
day.
weren't there.
get that
You don't
part.
even know. Do you even know this story?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
So this Indian guy who looks like this made up a story. I can't believe you didn't know this. Made up a story that this J.P. Morgan banker made him a sex slave, and it was these sordid allegations, and that she was like abusive and like dominating and like made him do it for his job, and then everyone got a look at the guy and they're like, "There's no way, like he made this up." And so then he filed another suit or another detailed account with the court with witnesses. Okay. And so now she is like, finally, she's been silent the whole time. And so her name is Lorna Hajdini, and she is now suing him for defamation, saying that it never happened. She's saying, her attorney saying, Ms. Hajdini categorically and unequivocally denies each and every allegation of unlawful conduct. These allegations are entirely false, malicious, and fabricated, and were concocted for the improper purpose of personal enrichment at the expense of defendants and others. So that is an update on that source. So speaking of unfounded allegations about Rock Hudson, sorry, Wanda.
Listen, I think
apologize,
that
Wanda.
Rock
That's
Hudson.
your apology?
Yes,
that's great.
I think Rock Hudson was like way before Goldie Hawn anyway. So
yeah,
that was part of the joke.
It was a real good joke there, Eric.
What's the hang on real quick? What's the quote? What's the Ron DeSantis Hakeem Jeffries impersonation? What's the line?
Modern warfare.
Yeah, yeah. What's the exact quote? Do we know?
I don't know.
Modern political warfare.
Yeah, political warfare.
Yeah, that was a great impersonation.
He's a walking meme. So, anyway,
let's see here. Do we have anything else on the ticket that we can leave you with? We missed this story. We didn't have time to get to this about this guy that's bashing Teddy Daniels, who took 4 in the chest for his country while in Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah.
And I know Teddy Daniels, and this is absolutely insane that this guy would do this. Plattner's.
This is Plattner. This is the guy in Maine, right?
Yeah, guy in Maine. Democratic Maine Senate candidate Graham Plattner's deleted Reddit account has continued to cause headaches.
This is the guy that has the swastika tattooed on his chest that he covered up?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I believe that's him. And,
running as a Democrat.
Straight up is they got this Reddit post making fun of Teddy Daniels, who, by the way, he got interviewed by Tucker back when Tucker was on Fox in that Tucker Carlson Today segment. You know how he had a daytime little interview thing? And so it's a fascinating interview if you want to go listen to Teddy's story. It was back when he was running for Senate in, I can't remember, Vermont, I think. He lost, but he made a good run at it.
Yeah.
And he's got the Purple Heart. The man survived getting shot 4 times and actually took fire. He drew the fire intentionally to save his own guys. He made a tactical decision to do the unwise thing, to draw fire away from his men, and took 4 in the chest from it. And then this guy goes online and criticizes him.
Yeah, that Plattner guy's crazy.
Folks, that's all the time that we have for this edition of the show. I'll be back here tomorrow here on LFA TV and other platforms. God bless. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Red Vive Health, New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, Pet Club 24/7, and Sherrod Chiropractic. We will see you tomorrow.